This is the Beat of Sports with Marc Daniels.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Beat of Sports. Chris, did you find it odd that both you and I were complaining about something free? They had bagels in this morning. I don't want to say it. And they're free. And Chris comes in, and then I said, man, they didn't have any plain cream cheese. Like, exactly. I just wanted some plain cream cheese, and all they had was the flavor. It was free. We're still moaning about it. Although I will say, if you're going to bring by a variety of bagels, and you'd like one of the options of the cream cheese to be plain.
Yeah, there was like 5 different cream cheese containers. 4 of them.
Maybe somebody took some. I don't know. Anyway, how you doing?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
I'm good. Can I quickly share a story that I just checked my email this morning? Right?
Yes.
And I want to get in. I'm going to get a good rant in the magic.
Oh, I love good rants.
Okay. It said, check your Social Security account. First, you're thinking, is there fraud?
Yeah.
No. Getting to a certain age where they want to update you and say, hey, if you're thinking about retiring, here's what you're looking at on a monthly basis. And, you might want to think about working a little bit longer, which I do, but it's one of those things like, hey, you're old. But then you want to click on and you're like, I got to work that many more years to get to that number, huh? Okay. Yeah.
Is seniors like the early bird special? Is that still a thing?
The early bird special.
Is that still a thing?
The early bird special is 62.
Okay. Is it still a thing though?
Yeah, you can opt into it at an earlier age. Yeah, you just don't get as much.
No, I'm talking about like when you go out to like dinner.
Did you just do that?
I did.
There are some places. Yeah, no, my wife and I will not anytime soon. I will never say never, but not anytime soon.
I was going to say, you don't want to eat dinner at 3:00 in the afternoon.
My parents never did that. My dad was like, never are we ever going to do something like that. Yeah.
I don't think I could either.
Yeah. No,
I still got another 27 years.
Yeah. So,
26
anyway,
years.
it was just one of those things like, let's go see what I can get. Oh, that much, huh? All right. Well, still working for a while then.
It is what it is.
Anyway, got back.
Can I show everyone what you brought me?
Yeah, I brought you flavored sunflower. We're up on the stream. You can catch. That's the Parmesan and pepper.
Lemon and pepper.
Oh. Yeah, at
oh no, you're right. It is Parmesan.
Yeah,
Parmesan and pepper.
In Kansas at Lawrence, which is fine. They don't have a medium meal, but they offered flavored sunflower seeds. So I took
cinnamon toast.
Yeah, you ever had that?
I've never had either of these.
So I brought some back for you.
On top of the barbecue ones that you got me last week.
After
I beat you in speed checkers.
You did.
Fair and square.
Yeah, so they have flavored sunflower seeds.
For days.
Yeah.
Actually, for like maybe a couple hours.
So that's nice.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else highlight the weekend?
Worked both weekends Saturday night.
Yeah.
Pretty decent crowd. Wasn't as busy as what it was last year from what I was told, but still a good time.
Okay.
Spoke Spanish to some people. So
like really speaking Spanish? Like, hey, buenos dias.
It was more like the buenas, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias.
And you're like, hey, slow down, okay? You're going a little bit too fast for me here.
I did tell someone a beer.
Holding up his phone. Translate.
I did tell someone a beer was $70 when I meant to tell them $7.
Did they leave?
No.
Oh.
They're like, pardon?
We'll take our business elsewhere. Spending that kind of money here. It's insane. Wow.
But it was a good time.
Okay, good. Nice.
Produced Making the Cut on Saturday also.
In the morning.
Yep.
Good.
He had some kind words for me.
For you?
After the show, yeah.
Good. Whit's a great guy.
I take pride in what I do.
Yeah, Whit's a good guy.
Nice.
UCF played doubleheader Saturday because of expected rain Sunday, but we had to stick around. Couldn't change the flight for the group, like 46 or so. So I didn't fly home till last night, which is fine. You heard the story about me on the plane with the wide open rows.
Oh boy, no,
Yeah.
I didn't hear this.
You didn't hear that?
No.
Yeah, it was, quickly for those that did hear on the bridge, but we flew Southwest, which
Mhm.
now it's assigned seating. It's not the open seating anymore. I'm in 22B, which is a middle seat, which is okay. I sat middle on the way up. I was all right, trying to get an aisle seat. But I said, are there any aisle seats available? It's at the gate. They go, I'm sorry, it's not. Okay, fine. I'm assuming the flight's packed. Get on the plane, same deal, by the way. Group 1, not a single person's in Group 1. Nobody. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5. We get on, and our team is basically in rows like 18 to like 28. 3 and 3 on each side. Every seat taken. And I realized up front, Chris, there's like 10 people in rows 1 through 16. There's no one. There's no one in the rows. So I put my hand up, and a woman just in the back puts her hand below her throat, like, no, I'm not here. And then there's like the fake curtain. And I said, what are you doing? What?
Wow.
And then I asked, and she goes, you have to sit in your zone. And I said, why? She goes, you just have to sit in the zone. And then followed up by, and if you move it up to 1 to 6, I'd have to charge you. I said, well, how about 7 through 16 that's wide open? Then another gentleman came by that said, hey, when the plane gets up and we've leveled off, then I'll come by and let you know it's okay to move. Okay, fine. We had a little bit of turbulence going up, so it took a bit longer. They've taken the drink order. I politely, again, put my hand up, and I get the look from her like, no. So when she went back to get the next set of drinks, I got up. I asked one of our players sitting next to me to get up, and I get up, and I moved up. Row 10. No one near me. And here comes the guy working the front of the plane. I think, am I going to get called out? Which I was kind of hoping. And he goes, can I get you something to drink? I go, yeah, can I get a coffee? He goes, yeah, no problem. And I go, hey, and he goes, yeah, I know. I don't know why they did that. Well, he did say, Amber Alert, which we should all look at, which I can't stop. No. He did say, on takeoff, it's to balance the weight, which, again, we didn't get on a scale before we got on the plane.
But if everyone's on the back of the plane, what are we talking about here?
So anyway, it was fine. And good timing on the luggage. You know, sometimes you get back late into Sunday, good timing on the luggage. No problem.
I don't understand why flights make you, if there's no one there,
Well, listen.
what is the big deal?
Well, but then, by the way, she goes, and nobody can sit in 1 through 6. We'll have to charge you. There is no difference in 1 through 6 in Southwest. There's not more room. There's nothing. And as long as 7 through 16 was wide open, I didn't care. By the way, we definitely should have voted on exit row for the people. There is no chance 4 of the 6 people are helping anybody. Zero. None at all. We were all in trouble if we're counting on that crew in the exit row. I mean, zero chance that anybody's making it. Yeah. Yeah. But there you go.
I just that bothers. Like, if you get up and you go and sit in sections 1 through 7, what is she gonna do, sir? Like, if you're mid-flight, what is she gonna do? So you need to go back to your seat.
I don't have any problem with it. Said 1 through. It just, when there's 7 rows of no one, and again, our entire team is seated 3 and 3 across. And by the way, I was a little bit disappointed nobody else in the team followed me. Like, hey, you want some space? Move up. I had the row to myself. Yeah. Anyway. Rory wins again. Get to that a little bit later on. We come back, though. I'm sorry. There is no spin to anything about that game last night. It is a reflection of the entire organization. Period. And don't go, well, but they're in the plan. That is a reflection on the organization from top to bottom, not just for the performance, but including what you let happen with one particular player last night. That is next. First, everybody's favorite segment.
It's almost like an unwritten rule that when you become a father, you become king of the bad dad jokes.
What is Forrest Gump's password? One Forrest one.
Are you ready to laugh? We know at least one person is. Here's CB's dad joke of the day.
Oh, that's so great.
Like to start off the week strong, Mark. What do you call a modest bee?
I don't know, Chris. What do you call a modest bee?
Of course, Mark, that is a humble bee. Not a bumblebee, a humblebee.
He's so proud. He's so proud right now. Wow. And off we go with the week.
Hey, what's up? This is Pat Lynch.
And I'm Taco Bob. You're not rocking out with WJRR.
Lock it in here with Marc Daniels and the beat of sports.
How many of you remember the last time the Magic played in the NBA Finals?
Was it 09? Yeah,
Wasn't that team fun?
it was.
Remember?
They could actually shoot.
Every night when that team went out to play, you felt like they had a chance to win. And before the Warriors gave you their dynastic run in style, Stan Van Gundy, with a dominant center, decided to play an offense that really wasn't common in the NBA, but we're going to shoot threes. We got this big thing down low, and he's going to be the best defensive player of the game, and we're going to have guys that can shoot. We're going to have a point guard that distributes, and we're going to have a chance every single night. And in a weird way, it hasn't been the same since, okay? The downfall of Stan and Dwight and all that stuff, and then the decade of rebuilding and everything. And I would think if a Magic fan that's been around here for a while was to think and begin to rank frustrating teams, I don't think you can put the obvious tanking teams in the category because they weren't going to win. The team was bottoming out. They were putting a roster together that didn't give then Jock Vaughn any chance of winning. That's before Steve Clifford and Frank Vogel. You can't be ticked off at the early tanking teams. They had no chance to win. What is frustrating is when you believe you have a team that has the talent to go and win games and compete, and the organization then tells you that you're going to try and win. And then you get a season like the Magic fans went through, which first and foremost was highlighted again by injuries. The core not playing together again. When guys are coming back, no one knows. Then a style of play that was head-scratching at times. A team that built itself on its defense over the years no longer could defend. An offense that gets stagnant too often. A team that, despite making personnel changes the last few years, still can't shoot. Still is among the worst shooting teams in the NBA. Then, still has mind-boggling losses to teams that you just don't understand how it's possible. Losing close games in odd ways, like the Laker game. Losing like they did to the Pacers. Lack of effort in third quarters that frustrates you. And despite that, here comes the 82nd game of the season. And the Magic understand what's at stake. And if you look around the NBA, how teams handled yesterday as well as the last few days, some teams had said, mail it in. And others had things to play for. Boston had nothing to play for. Nothing. The Magic had something to play for. The last time I checked, if given a choice, whatever the sport is, and Chris, if I'm wrong, jump in here, a team would choose to play at home versus on the road, regular season or postseason. Am I correct?
That is correct.
So at least that's at stake for the Magic. And Boston made it very clear what yesterday meant to them. It was Fan Appreciation Day. Maybe a few extra T-shirt tosses because they weren't trying. Any key player for the Celtics was out. And the Magic understand what's at stake. And you have to assume that Philly's going to win. Even without Joel Embiid, who I think is due back in 2037. And in that first quarter, and I'm watching from the airport in Kansas City as I'm watching the Masters, Boston basically said, here, take it. We know the script today. You know, we come out, we're chucking some threes. You guys get up 10. We're going to lay down here. Just do what you got to do. We're cool. Going to get some guys out there, run around. They're going to take some shots. Kind of fun. I mean, we know it's important for you. Go do your thing. And then Boston's kind of like, no. You don't want to take it? Like, you I mean, it's kind of important to you. It doesn't mean anything to us. We're 2 seed. I mean, and they're like, no. You know, it's all right. 61-52 at the half. And you're like, all right, listen. You guys do your thing third quarter. We'll just lay down. And again, you win by 26. And then the third quarter happens. And you're like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Another classic third quarter by the Magic as they're outscored 42-20. 42-20. And then the Magic clawed their way back in it, but ended up losing 113 to 108. In the basketball game, you look at a box score, and sometimes it tells the story, sometimes it doesn't. But Taylor Shireman went for 30. Ron Harper Jr. went for 27. Luke Garza went for 27. The Magic shot 28% from 3. Paolo goes 7 of 22, 0 for 5 from 3. 6 turnovers. And the Magic lose by 5, 113 to 108, in a head-scratching performance in a game that Boston gave Orlando every chance to do what they needed, which is to get a big lead and coast midway third quarter and play at home in the play-in. Play at home. But that didn't happen. So now the Magic got to go to Philadelphia, 10 o'clock hour, WYGM Orlando, WJR, HD2, Cocoa Beach. Got to go to Philadelphia. Well, Embiid's out. Who cares? Got to go on the road. And if they win, they get the real Boston team. Those guys won't be starting in game 1 on Sunday for the Celtics. Yeah, but if they lose, and then they beat the winner of the Hornets and the Heat, then they get the Pistons. Wouldn't you rather play the Pistons? What makes you so sure that they would beat the Pistons in the current state? Yeah, but forget the Pistons. But let's get back to yesterday. Paolo, after the game.
I just think we was relaxed, no sense of urgency. And, I think we just let them back in the game. And, they got guys out there that can play. And they got, going, and the crowd got going. And, they went on a run.
So that was the third quarter when Boston outscored the Magic 42-20. Chris, do you think it's halftime? You got a 9-point lead. I don't need a Newt Rockne speech. If anything, you would think that every player realizes we're up by 9. Let's get this thing up to 15 or 16. They'll call it a night. Okay? Let's get this. Here's more Paolo.
Searching for that sense of urgency for most of the season. Why do you think it's been so difficult to find, especially at this late stage or in a game with this much stakes?
I don't know. It was a must-win game. At least I thought, and just think we didn't come out with no urgency. It's frustrating, honestly.
Jalen Suggs, your thoughts?
I got to go back and watch it, to be honest. Running the third quarter was tough. I think we just dug a hole. I think I'm always looking inward. I'm going to stand on what I said. I think if I don't turn the ball over that much in the first half and we're able to push that lead from 9 to, 15, 16, I think we're looking at something a little different. So coming on the second half, I think playing with a bit more energy, with a bit more effort. You can always say that looking back on it, but bro, we can't drop down and we know it. So you put that on everybody.
We've heard needing to play with more energy and effort. Why is that? Why do you think that was lacking in game 82 with home court and playing on the line?
It's a good question.
This is Magic coach Jamal Mosley. The first is Mosley on the basketball game Then the follow-up questions are on Desmond Bain. We have it.
You know, some of that was given to them by us. We turned that ball over 19 times for 23 points. That's part of it. Again, they had a ton of shot making going on, and then with us turning it over was a part of that big cause.
Okay, 19 turnovers led to a bunch of points. The next two questions, and I believe it's Jason Beatty, maybe Philip Rothman-Reich that asked a question about Desmond Bain. Desmond Bain played 18 minutes in the basketball game last night. Desmond Bain, going into yesterday's game, was one of several players in the NBA that had a chance of playing 82 games. Great. Just like Mikal Bridges played for 23 seconds in the Knicks' 82nd game. We're going to count that as a game played, so it helps his streak as he's now 52% of the way towards AC Green's record for consecutive games played. Paddle played 38 minutes last night. Jalen Suggs played 38 minutes last night. Wendell Carter Jr. played 31 minutes last night. Franz Wagner played 26 minutes in last night's game. Chris, if I'm wrong, jump in here and tell me. The Magic needed to win the game against the Celtics to ensure that they would be home for a play-in game going into yesterday.
Correct.
Okay. Then Jamal Mosley is asked about what they did with Desmond Bain, which is to play him for a couple of minutes, then sit him out. Sit him out until the second half when it was, well, maybe we'll get him back in the game. This is the answer to two questions that the Magic's head coach was asked about.
Desmond played the first 6 minutes and didn't return until the minute mark of the fourth quarter. What was the plan there, and why did he have to return?
Yeah, Desmond, like we did that in a little bit in Chicago when we had the lead. I think we were up 9 at halftime. And so our ability to, because he's played all 82, and that's a big portion of us being able to be on the back end and make sure we take care of bodies. We talk about the minutes with Anthony Black. We talk about the minutes with Franz Wagner. That's a big part of it with Dez, not him playing all 82 games, being able to have his body right for the down the last stretch as well.
But should that have been handled differently with this game meaning so much for your team, or would you regret any about the way you handled that, or just...
Well, that's it. I mean, I would have liked to get the win. That's what I do regret. But at the end of the day, we always talk about the long and the big picture of being able to keep guys healthy. And this guy's played 82 games, and his body has taken a toll. It's taken a toll, and us being able to be smart like we were in Chicago the other day with having the lead and being able to control that lead. Tonight, we weren't able to do that because they hit a ton of shots. We turned it over, gave them a couple extra opportunities, and that was a big portion of the ball game. But you got to give Boston a hell of a ton of credit for the way they came out with those 7-8 guys and played their tails off.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That's unacceptable by him. It's unacceptable for the coaching staff. It's unacceptable for any of the analytics people in the 6 rows that sit behind the head coach with all the little gadgets and measure everything. It's unacceptable on behalf of the president and GM or whatever the hell the title is, and it should be unacceptable by your ownership. I'm sorry. To use the Chicago game as an example, the Bulls laid down. The Magic had a massive lead. Get out of here with that. You know when the time is to rest him? When you've blown Boston out by 25 mid-third quarter and they've waved the white flag. And the leprechaun is playing point guard for Boston. Get out of here with that. Unacceptable by him and everybody else that was in on this. And unless Desmond Bain said, hey, I don't want to play that much tonight. I want to get the 82nd game. Not tonight, pal. Because we as a team didn't do our part in the first 81 games that tonight actually matters. So we need everybody to play whatever minutes it takes because we don't want to be on the road for the play-in game that we put ourselves into. We'd rather be at home. And conserving energy, and sorry, it's game 82. You might sell me a little bit on Black and Wagner because the injuries they're coming back from. But the guy that played 81, who, thank goodness, was healthy throughout the year, sorry, I need the minutes. Sorry. What are you afraid of? Did you not want the game at home? Unacceptable on all of them. Sorry. Forget it, man. It's not like he's coming back from an ACL like Tatum did, and you go, you know what? We're not going to run this guy for 40 minutes. Sorry, he didn't. He's been healthy all year. Do they win if he plays? I don't know, but they're better when he's out there. That answer is inexcusable. And he stumbled to get the answer because he knows it looks terrible. Well, if other guys did, who cares? Sorry. Hey, Desmond, I'm going to need you tonight for as many minutes as we need. We got to get this win. We do not want to be on the road. We want to be home with our crowd, in our building, in our beds, and play that game that we need to win. Unfortunately, we put ourselves in this situation, all of us, for 81 games, that this game matters. Not Boston, who can send out a second and third team. We got to play. I need you tonight. And boy, he better go off for 40 on Wednesday, right? Because, if you save the minutes, and, he's not going to be cold, will he? And he said, well, I was on the bike. And get out of here with that. Sorry, man. Sorry. They didn't go on and beat Boston in 5. It still was stupid. It still was stupid. You either play him or you don't. And the second choice is not an option in a game like that. It's not an option. And then the third quarter, that's on everybody. If you're just yelling at Jamal Mosley, come on, man. Save the energy and yell at everybody. And then when the answer is, I don't know. There's a disconnect, man. If it's a disconnect with player and coach, then you guys probably need to do what you need to do. This team doesn't lack talent. I said this in the bridge. You win 45 games with the injuries that they had. It's not a lack of talent. It's not. It's not. Health cannot be assumed with the Magic, though. But they won 45 games with the injuries. But the dysfunction, who knows how many games it cost them? I am baffled that anybody tries to sell you that, well, we're going to be careful because he played 81. Listen, man, if they had locked up their seed, even if it was a 7th or an 8th and they couldn't be better, then he could play 0 minutes. But not on a night. That's the difference of playing a road game or coming at home. Sorry. The third quarter, inexcusable. Lack of effort. Second half, till late in the game. That's on everybody. It's on the guy standing up on the sideline. It's on the assistants on the bench. It's on the 15 guys that all dress like they're, in some sort of frat club behind the bench. It's on everybody. And the president, GM, and the owners. If that was a plan for him in the game, it is unacceptable. That is insane. Well, he played all these minutes, and, we did it in Chicago. When you're up 35? When Benny the Bull's playing wing for the Bulls? What are you talking about? Come on. Come on. And when you reach the point that your fan base would rather it end than get extended this season, and you're resting him for what? There may not be a game 85. There's a game 84 that's guaranteed, but there may not be a game 85. Wow. And that game is a microcosm of the season. It is. The microcosm of the season. A game that you had a chance to open up and blow out Boston. And if you watched the end of that first quarter, start of the second quarter, the Celtics were basically handing the game to Orlando. Like, hey, this is what we're doing. We're making extra passes to take threes, okay? You guys just go do your thing. And then, all right, you got to lead the half. What are you going to do? We're going to lay down in the third quarter, get outscored 42-20. Look as disinterested as possible. So That ranks up with all the other head scratching losses this season, and the Desmond Bain thing is just I don't understand it, and there's no justifying it. I mean, you can't go, well, this is what. Get out of here, Des. I know you played 81, and I'm grateful for it, man. Not many guys do it. I'm grateful for it, but I'm gonna need you tonight. Now let's go out there. Let's get a big lead. That way I can take you out and you can rest up. Hopefully we can do it in the third quarter and you get your rest. Not we'll get him out there, then we'll sit him. We'll kind of think about it. Come on, man. Sorry, that's on everybody. It's on everybody. Don't blame the head coach, blame the head coach. That doesn't happen just solely by his choice. That's kicked around among everybody. Here's what we're going to do. And everybody's on board? Yeah, I like it. I like it. Let's rest him and, keep him fresh for the play-in game on the road. Come on. Weak on many, many levels. And body language tells you a lot. Disengaged, disinterested. They look like they want the season to end, to get it over with. I mean, they'll say the right things about, get us in. Let's just, beat Philly, go to Boston, get locked in, more of a half-court game, and we'll worry about that. You got body language of guys that are like, how fast can this end? Wait, if we lose at Philly, we've got to play again on Friday? Planning on being someplace on Friday in the sun. Wow. Just bad. I mean, it was almost fitting that the 82nd game of the season went like that. It's one thing if Boston's got something to play for, and Brown and Tatum's out there, and I mean, it's coming down to the wire. But here, take the game. Look at all the other teams that did that yesterday. That said, all right, we're done. Go blow us out and do your thing. Not Boston. And it's a compliment to Joe Mazzulla and the Celtics that were supposed to have a transition year and end up as a team that probably nobody wants to play in the playoff right now. For the Magic, that was the 82nd game performance. More on the playoffs, Magic coming up. But up next, he did it again when the Beat of Sports continues.
What's good, locos? This is Angel from the Monsters in the Morning on Real Radio 104.1, and you're listening to the voice of UCF, Marc Daniels, and the Beat of Sports on FM 96.9 The Game. You want real sports talk? You got it right here.
Blinded by the lights there. I mean, Manfred Mann Band or Bruce Springsteen. Got the stream up and a little bit dark in my camera, so Chris comes in playing lighting director. Now I just see purple spots all over the place.
I can come in and adjust again.
It's fine. You can catch the show on 96.9 FM, 740 AM. If you're listening on the iHeart app, we're glad you're listening, and you can always get the podcast. Just type in the Beat of Sports on demand. Subscribe and access the show when it's convenient for you. Watch the stream live. Go to 96.9 Game on Twitter, or go to our YouTube page at 96 The Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. You can watch the stream live. See, I just waved.
You're still looking a little dark, so I might have to add more lights on you. Hang on. I'll be in.
Really? You going to do this? Come all the way around to do this now? Maybe I like the darkness. Maybe I like being in the dark, you know? Yeah. So Chris is in here now working on the lighting. Multitasking is what they call it, I believe. The Masters delivers again. Saturday, Rory builds a record lead at the halfway mark going into Saturday, and going into Sunday, it's a totally different leaderboard. And some people like it wasn't as exciting. Okay, 17 and 18 after he chips off the green and makes the birdie, makes the par putt on 16. Maybe there's not as much drama, but are you kidding me? For 3 hours on Sunday, that leaderboard was popping all over the place. And once Scotty Scheffler gets himself in contention there, that added more drama. And then you're kind of wondering, is Rory going to absolutely give this thing away? You got Cam Young, you got Justin Rose, and here comes Scotty Scheffler. You got other guys that are getting in contention right there. And Tyrrell Hatton. And now you're thinking the story could be Rory had this massive lead and loses, but he settles down. The birdie at 13 puts him back up by 3, and then it still gets interesting. And then at 18, the tee shot makes you go, uh-oh, this is kind of interesting. And what's going to happen here? Then CBS misses both approach shots by Rory and Cam. I mean, misses both, and then blinded on the final putt by Rory to win again. But it got interesting on 18. And Rory McIlroy wins his second Masters in a row. Not like it's been done a lot. Nicklaus, Faldo, Woods, McIlroy. And Chris, you don't follow golf much, but I think you can have a view on this. Rory McIlroy's fandom in this country, it is really interesting. Went from, oh yeah, he's kind of a rival to Tiger, but he's not in Tiger's class, to we don't like him. And then he wins the Masters last year to complete the career Grand Slam, and his popularity soars. Even going into the crazy Ryder Cup that it was, he was like, well, he's on the other team, but we like him. And then he goes out and what he does in rounds 1 and 2, and he's the story. And then it was like, wait a minute, now he's going to give it away. We can get back to not liking him or laughing at him. And then he wins, and I think it's a very popular win. Now, it's Scotty come back and you force a playoff. I think the American side is rooting for Scotty Scheffler. But I think it's a very popular win on the tour, and his popularity has never been greater. And it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, but the ascension is incredible.
So it sounds like, just from an outsider's perspective, because Phil Mickelson was kind of the same way too, right? Like where you'd kind of crack on him if he came close, but he never won. And then he won, and then you started to like him.
Well,
Rory,
his win was very popular, and then in recent years, the issues with Liv and his personal life was separate. But Phil was that guy. Can you win? Can you win? And then he finally won.
and it's kind of the same with Rory. And
But we never
will,
had.
people will like you if you win.
Yeah. But the last couple of years, it's a complete. I mean, he's the most popular golfer in the world right now. And what about Scotty? Scotty's got a little bit of an edge, like he barked about. That's the dumbest question. Rory is the biggest name now in a half decade. It's been dominated by Scotty Scheffler.
When's the next major?
That's the U.S. Open.
If Scotty Scheffler wins,
Oh, I'm sorry. No, the PGA Championship's in May, and the U.S. Open in June, and the British Open in July.
Scotty Scheffler wins the next major event. Is Rory still the most popular golfer?
I think so. I think people would. Well, now I think Roy is back in that debate about actual best golfer. The thing about Scheffler, whether you like it or not, he doesn't have the greatest personality. Rory is likable. He went from being, oh, he's nice to I don't like him, and he had a little bit of an arrogant run, to now he's likable. Scotty Scheffler is probably the best golfer in the world and proved it by getting back into it yesterday. But he doesn't have that charming personality. He's robotic. Rory now, as he's gotten older, is very personable. He's very relaxed. Seems to, and winning obviously helps, but I think he's never been as popular. And by winning another Masters back to back only helps that resume. It was because I was watching, and again, we didn't have a game yesterday, so I was watching the whole round, start to finish, whether on a computer, phone, or on the TV. But I was standing at the Kansas City airport, and I was watching on TV, and my phone had the Magic game on. And the people around me, I was standing outside a restaurant bar area, and there's probably 15, 20 people, and probably half don't like him and half like him, and that's probably the career for Rory McIlroy. But I think it's really interesting the last couple of years with the two victories. Now we'll see what life is like after this, but he's never been as popular at this stage of his career. Not that he's old; he's still playing incredible golf. But I just think he's much more likable, and he's gone through a roller coaster in this country of how fans have perceived him.
Golf and tennis, when it comes to fandom of the stars, are similar to me in terms of you don't really dislike anybody either on the golf course or on the tennis court unless they answer questions in a way that you don't like.
Yeah. I mean, I get the comparison. The problem is in America, we haven't had a dominant American tennis player in such a long time. But Novak Djokovic rubs people the wrong way. Not just the COVID stuff. It just, sometimes, although I've loved his game for years and have never had an issue with it. It is Federer was the ultimate gentleman. Treated everybody, in such a
it's not
elite way.
It's not even that we dislike their game or anything about it. It's just the way they
carry
their persona.
The way they carry themselves. And I think McIlroy is very likable, the way he carries himself. And Scotty is an incredible golfer, but he's got a little bit of the, boring personality. But he'll go out and play incredibly well. And he probably has regrets of a few holes that, like I know people show the putt that sat in the lip and go, well, this is how close we were to a playoff. Well, that doesn't necessarily play itself out just, if he makes that putt. Yes, it would have been another stroke for him, but I think it's a great time for Rory McIlroy at maybe beginning the backside of his career, and he's never been as popular. And there are moments that was a great leaderboard yesterday, but in many ways you needed him to stay there because it was such a draw. And yeah, CBS. Norma does a phenomenal job. Many people, and rightfully so. The John Goodman voiceover he did for Saturday's coverage is phenomenal. Nance opening 68 seconds on Saturday was great. They just butchered the stretch yesterday. I mean, you can't miss the two shots by Young and McIlroy in the approach to 18, and then to have a backside view of the putt even though it's a couple of inches, it just blew it. And I'm sure they have great regrets. But I think a very popular win for Rory McIlroy. And now you get all the attention of a three-peat. And by the way, all the people talking about an unfair advantage that he had. Again, if you qualify for the Masters in that calendar year, okay, so anybody between now and next year, once you qualify, and there are some that after they're finished yesterday have qualified, others that will qualify over the course of the year in the many different ways, you have the ability to play at Augusta National. When you win, you get a little bit more access. But the fact that Roy McIlroy went up and he told you the last 3 weeks he played that golf course many times. Like, well, that's unfair. Scotty Scheffler could have done the same thing. He didn't do anything that wasn't available to other golfers. What can he do to the U.S. Open? Totally different. Augusta National makes it clear about how often you can play. And he didn't break any Masters rule for practice, didn't break any Augusta National rule. So when people say, well, is it an unfair advantage? He operated within what was allowed to everybody else along the way. So, but I thought yesterday was great drama. Maybe he didn't get it on 17 and 18, but there's a 3-hour stretch, and that leaderboard is popping all over the place with guys. What do we have? 4 guys tied for the lead once. Then you had a stretch where you had 9 golfers within 2 shots, and it was and Justin Rose. I mean, you want to talk about a guy in the backside of his career that is playing unbelievable golf. That dude put major up there and incredibly consistent. But Rory wins another green jacket. All right, we go back a little bit more on basketball. I know Chris and I will disagree on what I want to get to next because I'm not the guy on the front porch screaming. Chris will be the guy on the front porch, and he's younger than me. I'll explain that next.
He's the voice you trust for the teams you love. You're listening to Marc Daniels and the Beat of Sports.
Beat of Sports on this Monday. Going to do a show within the show. If you're watching the stream, we'll invite you to join us when we get to the next radio break. Hop over there and chat. Chris Vasquez is over there. Hope you had a nice weekend. Masters win for Rory McIlroy. The Magic just absolutely bombing on themselves yesterday against the Boston Celtics in a game the Magic needed to avoid playing on the road. Now they'll go to Philadelphia, and there's no gimme. There's no gimme that you're going to go to Philly and win. If you do, you get Boston, who get to play their guys. So, Chris, I want to play something for you.
All right.
Look, the NBA is getting beat up. The NBA is getting beat up.
I wonder why.
And I'm not telling you that there's not some valid things that you can have hot takes on, trying to figure out tanking, right? Which, by the way, they'll settle on something, and the average fan will not understand it. And what I think they're going to settle on is I think the bottom three teams will not be allowed to have the first pick of the draft. But, or I take that back. Or we'll have a smaller percentage than the team that finished fourth, fifth, sixth, whatever. But you'll never eliminate complete tanking. The other thing that got a lot of play in the last couple of weeks was the 65-game rule for in-season awards. You know, Victor Wembanyama needed to play one more game, then he goes out and has 40-point game and was incredible and was asked about it and gave a pretty good answer because of Luka's situation. And then you had, and one of the things that makes Charles Barkley appealing is he doesn't give a blank approach in life, right? It's not about money anymore. Chuck has plenty of money. He understands the character that he plays, and it's a character, and he may play it off mic as well, but he's a character. He understands it. And in the environment that he works in, it works for the formula of the show. And what makes that show fantastic is that all of the individuals know their role. Ernie Johnson isn't just a great studio host. Ernie Johnson knows how to play off of everything. He knows how to set Shaq up and Kenny and Charles. And Shaq and Kenny and Charles all know the role to play. It is very hard to find that chemistry. It is very hard to do as long as they've done it. If you want to compare, it's why most of the football TV shows, it's musical chairs, because they can't get the chemistry to work. And even at Fox, they keep adding people. It looks like a cable news channel. So it was inevitable that you were going to have some discussion about these things on the studio show. And here's Charles Barkley on the 65-game rule.
Vote for, but I don't think.
First off, they're trying to get to a break. And here comes Charles, and you just know the control room's like, oh, God, really? You guys got the long version of the music, right? Chris, you know, it's like a 20-second clip, and it's like an 8-minute clip.
Yep.
Right? Okay, so here we go.
Vote for, but I don't think 65 game is a lot to ask, man. Shut the hell up. Y'all voted on that in the collective bargaining, and now y'all want to complain. If y'all wasn't sitting on your ass half the time sipping margaritas and stuff, they want to put the 65 game threshold in there. Shut the hell.
So that went viral, as you can imagine, and it's yeah. By the way, I never liked the comparison of eras, which Chris and I will always argue about, because you have to take into account everything going on in that era. So can I do something with you, Chris?
Yes.
Okay, Charles Barkley played 16 years.
Okay.
Okay, and I admit this is a bit unfair because the backside of a 16-year career included more injuries and not playing as many games. So of all the games that Charles Barkley played and all the years that he played, he averaged 67 games a year.
Okay.
67 games a year. The career's not done yet. This is the 8th season for SGA. Okay? How many games do you think he averages a year?
Let's go 62.
66 and a quarter.
Okay.
Now, if he plays so many years as Shaq as Charles and picks up some injuries, maybe that number gets a little bit lower. If they want to change the rule, then they'll change it. What'll happen is that Adam Silver and his people go back to the Players Association and go, hey, do you guys want to review this? Because Charles is right. It was collectively bargained. And the great thing about it is you can go back and change the rule, not during the season, but after the season, you can go back and change it. And maybe they'll go back and the players say, yeah, you know what? Never mind. And then you know what's going to happen. Next year, someone's going to play 47 games, Chris, and have a phenomenal 47 game. Well, yeah, but they didn't. So we're going to do this back and forth. The era comparison drives me crazy. Yes, you can go look at elite players that played with Barkley. Just go back to that time. Okay? And forget, like Michael Jordan, although he would count as you want to go look at players that played. Clyde Drexler, okay, played during that time. In the first 9 years of Clyde Drexler's career, in the first 9 years, he averaged 77 games. All right? Then the backside, you're not playing as much, the number comes down because there's seasons that he played 49, 68, 41, 35, 52, 62, 70. But you just have to accept that as sports evolves and we evolve and years go by, the players don't refuse to play as much as people think. The players are built in such a way that they're not asked to play as often and in some cases as hard. Chris, I'm going to pivot off of basketball for a second to another sport that maybe you're not a huge fan of, but you follow to some degree, only when the Braves win. There once was a time that Major League pitching staffs, for starters, included four, which meant when you didn't have that day off that a guy would pitch on Monday, he's off Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and he's back pitching on Friday on 3 days rest. If you did that today with regularity, they'd put you in baseball jail because it'd be, you can't do that. Look what you're doing to the arm. And yet I can go back and give you dozens and dozens of examples of pitchers that were among the best in the game to those that were the most average pitchers that did it for years. Then we developed, and guess what? We had the fifth starter. And then we collectively bargained for a few more days off. And guess what? You had teams and have teams that are using a six-man rotation, as the Dodgers did towards the end of the season last year, and other teams followed. And you say, well, if I took these top pitchers today and dropped them back in the 40s and 50s, it's a dumb argument. It's just a different time. And by the way, I agree with Charles Barkley that players take advantage of the coddling and the robotic building that they've become. The difference is, while Charles and Chris blame the player, I don't blame the player as much. I don't. Because, and Chris, you listened. When Jamal Mosley gave an answer about why Desmond Bain played the minutes that he played, do you remember the answer that he gave?
It was an analytical answer.
Let me see if I can go back and actually find at the point of the clip. Hold on. Let me see if I can get
Franz
it.
Wagner, that's a big part of it with Dez, not him,
Hold on.
our ability to, because he's played all 82, and that's a big portion of us being able to be on the back end and make sure we take care of bodies. We talk about the minutes with Anthony Black. We talk about the minutes with Franz Wagner. That's a big part of it with Dez, not him playing all 82 games.
So basically, okay, and I knew that. Basically, what Jamal Mosley, and again, I said earlier, I think what the Magic did with Desmond Bain last night is unacceptable, and it's not Jamal Mosley, it's all of them. It's Mosley, his assistants, the people behind the bench. It's a GM and a president, and it's the owner. To go into a game that you needed everything. Sorry, it wasn't a night to protect his minutes, but the point is that there was a pivot over the years, not one off season. Over the years, we're like, hey, we're investing And we used to say we're investing $100 million now. That's 10th guy on the team. We're investing $250 million, and soon it's going to be $500 million, which, where some of these contracts are going to go. And we play the long game. In fact, I think he used the long game in one of his answers there. I don't blame the player. I don't. Chris blames the player. Charles Barkley blames the player. I don't blame the player. We've done this. We've built these athletes this way. And every year it's the same argument too, not just about it's how the body breaks down. And remember the NBA had the Achilles trend? And we did all this stuff about, well, the wear and tear, they don't play the sport, so these muscles at a very young age. And you know what the conclusion was? I don't really know. I don't really know. In baseball, the reason why there's so many Tommy John surgeries is because we became obsessed with velocity, where the kid at 13 and 14, if he's not already throwing 92, something's wrong. So let's have Tommy John surgery so we can build a robotic arm because it's all about velocity. And yet I can give you an example just because I was there watching a baseball series this weekend where guys were constantly throwing in the mid-80s with movement. You're like, you can't hit that. 98's cool, but try to hit this. And you're like, oh, that's right, it breaks. We built these guys this way. The thing I don't like that I'm on Chris's side, which I do acknowledge is a bit unfair for the consumer to accept, and I don't know what the fix is, Chris. You can't ask the consumer to pay this when this goes up every year. Okay? No one's going, good news, all of our tickets are 20% off next year. And then say, buyer beware. And I will agree that and you can't just go to Michael Jordan. That in a different time, players did care a little bit more about this may be the only time these fans see me play if I'm playing on the road at whatever place it is. But today's players taught, hey, there's a bigger picture here. Yeah, but the fans, I'm just using an example, Steph Curry, hey, they don't see me in Orlando other than one time. Yeah, but Steph, we got to think of the bigger picture. Bigger picture is we're trying to stretch you out over these 82 games and you're not that young anymore and have you ready for the playoffs and so forth. And the player now goes, all right, because it's not the same type of pressure. But I do think that fan frustration is valid. Hey, I don't know who's playing. Sorry. No, not sorry. You want to do dynamic pricing in July when the schedule comes out and I pay $320 for that ticket that normally is $180 when the Kings come to town. And then the Stars don't play. Sorry. I don't get the $140 back for the difference, right? I understand that frustration. I do. I'm just telling you, we built the athlete different. We did.
We didn't.
Yeah, we did.
Who's we?
Well, the we is an industry that slowly began to pivot towards the long-term investment, and I put X amount of dollars in this guy. I keep going back to this example over the years. Mark Cuban was very early on in saying, I don't want Dirk Nowitzki playing for his national team, even though he knew why it mattered so much to Dirk Nowitzki. The same way, and this team can relate, Franz Wagner wanted to play in that game in Germany so bad and is now the face of German basketball. But as Mark Cuban said, they don't pay him back then, $8 million, which you laugh at today. I do. I'm the one who invested $50 million, which was a big contract then. They don't. I want what's best for my investment, not what's best for the German national team. And he get, oh, come on, he's playing for his country. He'd be like, then they could pay him. I'm not saying he's the one that started all this, but it was that mindset that made others go, yeah. I mean, everybody wants a max deal, right? All right, so now we got a couple of max players for the Magic. It's $250 million. But where I will side with Chris is, well, are you ever really trying to win the championship then? Because sometimes we got to do some things like play a guy more than a few minutes in the 82nd game that it really matters. But the whole 65-game thing, to bring it back, They can change in the offseason. I just think sometimes it's a tired narrative. Is it too much to ask the best players to play? It shouldn't be. But I wish Charles and other critics were a little bit more vocal about not just the player, but the team, the owner, the president, the GM, the head coach, the trainers, and the stat guys that brought us to where we are. I mean, that is why we have 6-man rotations in Major League Baseball. It is why we have guys load managing in the NBA. Just be a little bit more open to who's responsible. It's not just the player alone. It's not.
I'll rip anybody. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. You're going to pay this guy all this money to sit him 15 to 20 plus games a year because you're expecting him to
But
be
I don't think
in
that's
shape.
accurate. I think that's unfair.
Why?
Because you and I may argue about when there's a real injury versus not. I don't think players that actually sell tickets are purposely healthy guys opting out of 15 to 20 games.
No, I'm blaming management for that.
But I don't think that happens. I don't think a healthy player is missing 15, 20 games by choice. You can argue about the extent of an injury, but I don't think it's as common as maybe Charles thinks. All right, 11 o'clock hour, WY, Jim Orlando, WJR, HD2, Cocoa Beach. The 11 o'clock hour kicks off with the news. Next, we're going to hop on the stream, do a little show within the show. Join us there, and we're back with more.
We're back on.
Okay, so I asked this question to Kelly on the bridge. I was in line yesterday checking our luggage in Kansas City, and several UCF baseball players behind me, and this particular group are golfers, okay? And the argument was, if I drop your ball at the beginning of the green of every hole at Augusta National, could you break par? Meaning no tee shot, no approach, no water, no sand. I put your ball at the beginning of the green, and you start there with your first shot. Could you break par? Who believes they could break par? With the greens in Masters condition, could you shoot 72 if your ball was placed at the edge of the green for 18 holes?
Okay.
Which at first I laughed. I go, this is great. And I'm like, you know what? Not a bad question.
Two things. One, off topic here. Can we do another show within the show? Because I want to ask you something about going back to the 65 game schedule.
Next break.
Knowing me,
no, let's do that now.
You want to do that now?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. But if you're on the stream, answer that between now and when we come back, and then I'll pick it up again. So how many of you think you could actually break par if your ball was placed in the green? We'll get answers later, and you can comment on the 65 games. Go ahead.
So Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Played all 82 games, but apparently he's not eligible for any awards. Not that he'd win any
minutes.
So how is it he didn't play enough minutes to qualify for 65 game awards?
Right.
But we're going to count Mikal Bridges playing 23 seconds as a game played.
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Doesn't, and even though he plays for the Knicks, I can't stand the Bridges thing. He did it last year, played 6 seconds last year. They counted it, and they pulled that crap yesterday.
Like, how do we allow this?
And again, I still wouldn't like it, but it's one thing if he was in like 150 of AC Green. He's 50, I think it's 52 or 53% along Green's record. He's got to play another, I think, 7 years. Get out of here. Embarrassing. Things that insult the integrity of the game, I can't stand. And I love my Knicks. What they did with Bridges, it's crap. It was crap last year for the 6 games. Now, I do not argue. He's been healthy. Good for him that he's been healthy. It's not like the Knicks did this 8 times during the season. But I don't like it. It's embarrassing the game.
And then he walks off the court with a smile.
I hate it. Chris, I'm telling you, I didn't like anything about that. It cheapens it. Look, did he have to play 40 minutes? No. And I don't know what he's averaging per game. Maybe he's averaging 28 or 29 minutes. If he plays 20 minutes, I don't have a problem. But to do that, I can't stand. Can't stand what happened there.
And the fact that nobody complains about it.
I am.
We are, yes. I absolutely hate it as well.
well-
But nobody in the league is saying anything about it.
Well-
and we just accept it as normal.
Well, we played the clip on the bridge of Mike Breen and Walt Frazier.
By the way, he averages 38 minutes or 33 minutes.
Okay. Well, again, if you play 21 minutes, it's fine.
You should be required to at least play a quarter's worth of minutes.
I'm fine with that. Now, somebody would argue, what if, a guy plays 9 minutes and rolls his ankle? But sometimes you just have to have rules. I hate what they did. Look, where Charles is right in that clip that we played, the players are the ones that asked for this. Sometimes unintended consequences. And you're like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't work because we had MVP candidates that all were in issue with the 65 games here. Okay. You don't like it?
Stop sitting out games. Stop sitting out games.
Chris, again,
No, we're gonna
Chris,
keep going back and forth on
you're
this.
arguing that players
So again, it
purposely,
goes back to management then. 15, 20 plus games.
but okay, I'm not saying it doesn't happen that players on a back-to-back might take off. I don't think it's 15, 20 games a year. I just don't think it's that many games.
Then why is there a 65 game rule? That's 17 games right there.
Because I know. They took into account injuries to a season, and then they tried to make you not think about taking more games off. But I don't think it was, hey, guys are taking 20 games off. And like I said, they don't like it, then go change the rule.
It's such an embarrassment that your sport has all these issues about the games. Just everyone there's no way to fix it.
Yeah, you can do some things, but I mean, you won't get rid of it 100%. No,
It's embarrassing, absolutely embarrassing. All right, we got 50 seconds. Do the news, and then we'll do the Masters breaking par next.
Let's really do the news. Yes. Now it is time to do the news. But now it's time for the news.
All right, last night Magic lost the Celtics 113-108. Here's some of the guys that made that third quarter run for Boston.
Against Faulkner defensively, and Harper Jr. on a heater. 7-point lead. Walsh on the baseline out of bounds. Nice cut for the layup. Harper Jr. had a notion. Shot clock at 12. Shireman from deep. Got it.
Billy Scheinman shoots like the 8th grader middle school. Do you like he's not going to make? Oh, he made it. Yeah.
Who?
Billy Scheinman.
Who?
Yep. Magic saw the Celtics outscore them 42-20 in the third quarter as Boston won a game that had no meaning to them at all. But they won. Magic lost. Sixers won. Magic go to Philadelphia on Wednesday for the play-in. If they win, they go to Boston for game 1 on Sunday at 1 o'clock. If they lose, they come home on Friday to play the winner of Miami and Charlotte, and then would play Detroit.
I'm not confident the Magic win. Should they make the playoffs as a 7 or an 8 seed? I'm not confident they win a game against Boston or Detroit.
Maybe. Maybe not. Some series are set to go. On Saturday, Toronto will play Cleveland. Atlanta plays at New York. Minnesota's at Denver. Houston and the Lakers. Playing again begins tomorrow in the NBA. Rory McIlroy wins the Masters for the second consecutive year. An interesting day yesterday where the leaderboard is all over the place in the early part of the round, and Rory with a big birdie on 13 kind of settled things down after that. Scotty Scheffler made a late run again. Ended up losing by just a stroke. Rory got to 18 with a 2-shot lead and then a bad tee shot. Decent recovery into the sand. Great chip out of the sand. And gets the win and celebrates just by making bogey, wins by stroke, and wins a second consecutive green jacket for Rory McIlroy. Much to celebrate there. And the only others to do that, Jack Nicklaus, Nick Faldo, and Tiger Woods. Doc Rivers, by the way, back to the NBA, stepping down as coach of the Bucks. They won 32-50. Doc will be inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Will Doc Rivers ever coach in the NBA again?
Yeah, he's still young. At least he looks young.
I believe the answer is no.
You don't think so?
I think Doc will sign a deal to do limited TV again.
Well, isn't he still staying with like the Bucks front office or something like that?
It's like when you fire the football coach and he's in fundraising. Yeah. He's excited for his new opportunity.
What is, I hate to do this question out there, but what is Doc's legacy as a coach? Is he successful or is he mediocre?
Well, he's won a championship. The critics will say, yeah, but that team, was not really about him. It was about the big three.
Was it? Is he known for the 3-1 series leads?
No one loses more 3-1 series leads in Game 7 than Doc Rivers. Made a lot of money. Well liked initially around the NBA. Just going off the road for a second. In Doc's early TV career, again, I'm going way back and to age me, okay? This is back when I'm doing the afternoon show, right? And Mark Lloyd was doing the show with me, and Doc would come on. I forget how we had his number once. We got his number once, called Doc. He's like, yeah, happy to come on. And then called Doc like anytime with Doc. Everyone is asking, what is Doc Rivers? And he's like, really? Like, yeah. And like, you call him like 5 minutes before, Doc, can we get you on in 5 minutes? He's like, I don't know, Doc. People want to know. Let's do it. He was like the most accessible guy. Like, easy to get on, right? Then the Magic hired him. Couldn't get him on ever. Don't call me here anymore. So,
wow.
No, I never said that, but yeah. Let's see what else we got. By the way, with Rory's win, $4.5 million, which on the PGA Tour, it's not a lot of money for winning anymore, but you win the Masters, it's worth a lot more. Career earnings, $114.69 million. He's only 6.3 behind Tiger Woods in career earnings. Purses have gone up a lot.
Well, it's like, Kirk Cousins, I think, is what, second or third all-time in all-time earnings?
More than Brady.
Yeah. That's one of those stats you can just kind of get rid of. It doesn't mean anything.
I think Brady's like, I just want to come back just to pass him again. Like, I can't be passed.
You want to double-check bank accounts? See who's got more money?
Yeah, it's like, come on, man. That is kind of crazy. The Mariners unveiled a statue of Ichiro outside T-Mobile Park on Friday. The bat was broken.
Dud of the week.
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
The guy that did the statue is like, yeah. And he just has that look like, oh my God. And by the way, he's got to be one of the classiest individuals in the world. Ichiro just handled it. He smiled and, kind of understood it. It was an accident. But they pull the tarp off and the bat's broken. It's like you get your kid their dream Christmas gift and it's broken. The kid just cries for a day because he can't get to the store to get a new one.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Have we ever seen an unveiling of a statue that something was broken on it?
I don't know about broken. I mean, there's the great Dwayne Wade where you're like, that's not Dwayne Wade.
And then the Allen Iverson one just looks completely miniature.
Yeah. Just a couple of quick stories locally. I was right about Orlando City Soccer. 1-1 draw.
Hey, there you go.
I said they would.
That's how you do
not
it.
Lose by 4 goals or more.
That's how you come back.
Huh?
Things are looking up.
How about that? Also, shout out to the Orlando Soda Bears. They'll miss the playoffs as their season ends, And on what was it, Saturday, they drew 15, almost 16,000 fans. They packed the place
Nice.
at Kia Center.
I always love the teddy bear toss.
Phenomenal. The Orlando Storm, did you say how they won?
Oh, a penalty. That's how we do things.
In the odd overtime rule, first off, it's best 2 out of 3 from the 8-yard line. And by the way, I think total combined yards gained was 1 by both teams in the 3 rounds. Then they won because you can't commit a second pass interference or defensive penalty. Basically, they're saying otherwise you just keep trying to knock the ball away and pass interference can go on forever. And despite not converting the play, the second flag on Louisville led to a score for Orlando, and that's how they walked it off to beat Louisville to get to 3-0, and nobody knew what happened.
Well, do you remember it was the Commanders-Eagles game a few years ago when the Washington linebacker just kept hopping over the Eagles offensive line because they were at the 1. They knew the tush push was coming.
Yeah.
I think it was like 4 or 5 offsides penalties, and the ref's like, next time he does it, if he does it, it's going to be an automatic touchdown.
Right, which he was full of crap because he doesn't have the right to do it. But
that's what that reminded me of.
But this is the rule, and that's how Orlando won. Then the Pirates, the indoor football league team, announced a couple of hours before the game yesterday that their coach, Rob Keefe, had stepped down. And they went out and won. You cannot stop this town in the spring in football. 6-0. I mean, good grief. Kurt Cignetti's going to wonder what's going on down there in the spring.
Man, how do I Google them?
Yeah. Kicking ass and taking names in the spring in this town. You kidding me? Like, seriously. When we come back, I get it. We're talking about fans and their anger. I get it. I just, I'm not, it's not defending or not defending. It's just, it's business. Okay. I'll explain that next. We're going back on the stream and you can jump over there because the question, which was brought up on the bridge that came from a group of UCF baseball players, if I drop your ball at the beginning of every green at Augusta National with Sunday's pin placements, could you shoot par from the green only? We'll go and debate that in the show within the show on the Beat of Sports.
Man, you need to get your laptop under control.
Yeah, whatever.
It's all right. I got the same email.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't golf.
I don't.
So there's no way you think you could actually break 72.
I would still be the world's worst golfer. I'd have the
I don't
worst
think people
scores.
understand how hard it is to read any green if you don't play golf, but let alone Augusta and the way they set the greens up for the tournament. So if I put your ball at the beginning of every green, and you say, what's a par 5? Well, you got 5. Okay. Oh, I'll knock it in 2. All right. That's fine. Except when you miss, the ball rolls. So.
Yeah. I mean, even me on a
Who
putt.
thinks they could break par putting only?
Even me on a putt-putt golf course, I'm still shooting like 85.
Well, look, when I first heard the group behind me, I'm like, okay, this is just stupid. Then I'm like, it's just not that stupid. Let me think about this. And I couldn't do it.
What do you think you would shoot?
Putting only?
Yeah. Would you break 100?
See, I think I'd say yes, but that would not be respecting Sunday pin placements at Augusta. I just don't think people understand, one, how the greens dry out the course of the tournament, and the weather was perfect all weekend. I don't know. I'd like to think I would, but I don't know. Because once that ball rolls off, I could take 14 to get out of there. I know.
Someone said not an effing chance.
A breaking par.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
If you think, then you got to explain in the comments why you think. Now, some of you go, hey, like if someone says I play to an 8 handicap, well, then maybe you might. Like if you're truly playing where you can shoot 78, 80, 81, yeah, maybe you can. But the weekend hacker, I don't think you could break par.
Nope. I don't think I'd break 150.
Just putting.
Just putting. I do not think I'd break 150.
What Chris is telling you is if he actually had to play the course and
good
apply all the
Lord.
rules, he would shoot 500 is what he's telling you.
Worse than that. You do not want to see me on a golf course.
And he'd have to come back because he wouldn't complete the 18 holes if he'd teed off at 7 in the morning. And after 12 hours, he'd be like, I'll see you tomorrow. Where are you? I'm somewhere on 12 in the woods back there.
Yeah, you'd probably be correct. I am horrible at golf. Horrible at it.
I know a few people that have had the honor of playing at Augusta National. And one guy I know is a 6-7 handicap. And he played this is a few years ago. I think he played in like mid-February as the course is just beginning to get a little bit of a taste of spring. And admitted he got caught up in just playing there. Shot 94.
That's not bad.
Shot 94. Was thrilled to break 100, but that's a guy that on the weekend will go out. He'll hustle guys and make money on the golf course and shoot 77, think nothing of it or something like that. And, shot 94. But just putting? By the way, could you imagine? Yeah, we're going to get out there. We're just going to putt. What? We're just going to get out there in the course and we're just going to putt. Yeah, you're not going out there.
That would be cool to just walk the golf course, though.
By the way, you have to use a caddy there.
I'm okay with it. Hell, I'll caddy for someone.
So the guy gets Chris.
Oh, boy.
And Chris is shooting 500 on the first tee, and he's like, oh, my God. Okay, Chris, let me do this to you. Ready?
Oh, boy.
Would you double or triple the tip to the caddy if you had to endure a round of 250?
That's quadruple.
Right? Don't you? Hey, man, I'm sorry I put you through this.
I'm going to give you a heads up right now. I suck. You're going to be here all damn day. Can I get you a beer? Couple beers?
One quick story. The Ritz here at Orlando still has the golf caddy program. We were out there for the opening of that golf course with the caddy. My first shot. My own caddy's like, oh, right in the background over the shoulder. You hear that? Oh. Talk about pressure on me the rest of the day, right?
Like, if you're someone's caddy, like, it is what it is. Not everyone's going to be Tiger Woods.
Great. Oh. We're going back on radio. The Beat of Sports on this Monday. A nice weekend. The Masters over the weekend for many to enjoy. That's what the TV number is. Again, it didn't give you drama 17 and 18, yet I still thought, I mean, you got locked in on that Sunday. You weren't turning that off for anything. That stretch from 3 o'clock to 6:30 was awesome.
Do you think viewership is down a little bit on Sunday just because McIlroy had a 6-shot lead?
Yeah, but by the time no, he blew it on Saturday. No, there's no point on Sunday that tournament. I wouldn't say, well, no, it is. By the time you get to 3 o'clock on Sunday, it was anybody's game. In fact, at 3 o'clock, I remember where I was, and Justin Rose was in the lead. So, no, I would think the TV numbers are good. Rory's very popular, very, very popular. So, Chris, I knew it because I was tipped off that the announcement was coming. And you could have gone 3, 2, 1, react. So UCF announces 2 Friday football games, home games. Count the opening game on Thursday. Those are 3 non-Saturday games. Okay? And I get it. UCF knew it was coming. Doesn't matter what you put in a release. Doesn't matter what you say. You're going to get angry fans. I got it, man. I understand. One, though, you came off Halloween. I mean, one game was on Halloween. Now Halloween's on a Saturday. So they came off Halloween. But I get it. Friday, high school football. Okay? People love to tailgate on Saturday, like to get to the stadium hours before and tailgate. You don't get to do as much on Friday because you're working, maybe take a little bit of time off, but it's not the same. I get it. All I can tell you is, and this isn't me as the UCF employee putting a hat on here, and this applies to anybody of a fan base that has games that are moved to a Friday. If you want the money, you got to deal with it. And that's part of this. When the Big 12 had Brad Yormark pull off the media deal that he did, and then even add to it the last couple of years when you brought in TNT, with it meant more money, and with it means you may have some games that are played on non-Saturdays. And you're like, well, but I don't like it. I understand that. But the check north of 40 and probably mid 40 million, you got to deal with it. You got to deal with it. You say, well, but how come this conference? Because the SEC delivers big TV numbers. So that's why there are no Friday SEC football games yet. That's why. Okay? Yeah, but they get the games at noon and 3:30 and 7:30. Yeah, because they deliver the numbers. And right now, the Big 12, and it isn't any one particular team. Heck, Cody Campbell and Joey McGuire are complaining at Texas Tech about, you want the money or not, man? If you're going to take the money, then this is also part of it. This is also part of it. And as Chris has battled with me, we're the game. Yep, you got to watch it here. You got to go to ESPN. You got to go to Fox. You got to go TNT. You got to go to ESPN Plus. I get it, man. But how come 2? That one, I'm in your group on that one. Okay, I'm in your group on that one. I wish the league had a rule that just said you don't have to play more than one Friday game. But what's that?
I have no issue with them moving off that second. Well, no, the second one's in November, right?
Yeah, but they have 3 non-Saturday home games now. The opening game on Thursday has always been that way because on Labor Day weekend, students go home. It's really hard to draw. Now, you hope that there comes a day that you are in one of those special Labor Day weekend slots because your team has thought so highly of, and you get a primetime slot. But, the second Friday, I understand, because that's what I have from a lot of people. And we're like, well, how come it's got to be 2? And listen, I wish the league had a rule that, and this is selfish, in baseball, we weren't playing Easter Sunday. And yet they let home teams decide, and 5 decided they didn't want to play on Sunday. They played Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I was in West Virginia. They played Sunday. They wanted to play Sunday. But you want the money, man? That's the deal. And TV's got a powerful say. Did they pick UCF because they think they're going to have a good season? I can't speak for what the TV networks did. And yeah, they do protect some brands for what they think are going to be prime TV slots. But it's up to UCF to go out and put a product that either A, warrants you getting a prime Saturday slot, or B, means you're going to generate TV numbers whenever you play. That's ultimately what your goal is. And one of the things in what the Big 12 is now, in the last 2 years, without Oklahoma and Texas, it is delivering what is viewed as a really good TV number. And 2 years ago, that was Dion and Shadur. They drew the biggest number. It wasn't even close. And as great as Texas Tech season was, it wasn't a national draw. It's not like when they played like, whoa, and they got some great, they played that noon slot a couple of times. The number was good. But this league needs multiple brands to consistently be inside, ultimately, the top 15. And you got to win non-conference games against other Power 4 schools, and you have to have more big-ranked matchups because the overall TV audience for Big 12 football was down last year. And the biggest reason it wasn't Oklahoma and Texas, you were removed. It was Colorado stunk. 2 years ago, they were a big TV draw. Last year, Texas Tech wasn't a big draw. Had a great season. They weren't a big draw. And on top of that, games, and I think their presentation on TNT was phenomenal. I think their pregame show and the game presentation, it just is new. And people can find it. And on top of that, they were getting fourth, fifth choice, sometimes sixth choice of games, and they weren't getting great matchups. I do think the TNT thing is going to grow because they're going to put a lot more sports on there. Once this whole media merger thing figures itself out, you're going to see TNT is going to be hardcore college football on Saturdays. But I get it. But it's about the money. It's about the money. Again, this isn't a USF, UCF thing. They're going to hope for a check this year that is around $7-8 million in the American. And UCF's check should be somewhere near $45 to $47 million. We need you to play a couple games on Friday. Okay. 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.? Which one is it? As the NBA playoffs begin, and you may have seen this with some social media posts, but there are no more local TV broadcasts in the NBA for playoffs, which was not the case. If you were a Magic fan, you would be able to tune on in the first round and see David Steele and Jeff Turner or Dante Marcatelli call games. That is gone. In the new TV deal, everything's a national game. Play-in, first round, everything now is a national game, which is unfortunate, but that's the path they've gone with all the billions that were spent on the new TV deal. And yes, that's it for FanDuel. And if you're old like me, you remember when Sunshine Network was born. It's Sports Channel Florida, and Sunshine Network was born because we got 2 NBA teams in this state, and they needed a channel to carry games. And now, as the Magic ended their season yesterday, and the Heat, and anybody else that had games on FanDuel, which went back, that used to be Bally's, that used to be Fox Sports, whatever, that used to be Sunshine Network and Sun Sports, on, gone. Finished. Magic in the process of working on their clearance for next year. I believe you'll see a package of games on Wesh and their secondary channel and an app. All in a one-year deal because the NBA in 27-28 wants all the deals under their umbrella. So that whether you're in Orlando, Miami, New York, San Antonio, Dallas, Portland, you got to go to the NBA's choice to access games. Doesn't mean you want a local broadcast. It just means you're going to end up going to what, if you've been figuring out Major League Baseball, if you're somebody that watched MLB TV, you now are basically going to ESPN's landing page and then going to your game. That's what's going to come to the NBA, is they want all the rights under their umbrella. So you will still get a local broadcast. You may get fewer of them because of national games, but you'll get a local broadcast most of the games. The question is, where do you find them? but that channel that you've known for all those names over the years is gone for the Magic. And as the NHL season ends, it's gone for the Panthers and Lightning. And right now, the Rays and Marlins, and depending on how you access games, I mean, I have Spectrum and I have a Rays and Marlins channel. I'm probably paying for it somewhere in there, but I don't know. But there'll be no local broadcast of any Magic games, whether it is the 2 and the play-in or if they advance to a 7-game series. We're back with more. There'll be the sports next. Want to play Guess the Airport Pricing again?
Let's do it.
In Kansas City, 2 hard-boiled eggs, and a bottle of water. Okay, by the way, one of those fancy bottles.
Was it a package of 2 hard-boiled eggs or solo?
It was a package of 2.
Package of 2. And a fancy bottle of water. Go 15.
No.
9.
Well, just under 10.
9 and change?
Yeah, $4 for the eggs and 5 something for the water.
Paying for the plastic.
Yeah. Like at self-checkout with a camera, you want to hold up and go, this is crazy. What are you doing here, Georgia?
And yeah, you can't bring a bottle of water past security.
By the way, remember I told you I was, about ordering that salad on the way out? I didn't get the salad.
I didn't think you would. What did you say? It was like $15, right?
No, it would have been like $18.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to do that. Earlier in the program, I played this clip. Magic lost to the Celtics last night. An embarrassing loss considering what's on the line. And Jason Beattie, the Sentinel, Philip Rossman-Reich, who's been on our show, Line to Magic Daily, were there with others and asked Jamal Mosley about Desmond Bain, who started and they took him out and then put him back late in the game. And Jamal Mosley gave an answer that I said earlier, I think is unacceptable on behalf of the entire organization, not just him, but the entire organization. It's unacceptable.
Yeah, Desmond, we did that in a little bit in Chicago when we had the lead. I think we were up 9 at halftime, and so our ability to because he's played all 82, and that's a big portion of us being able to be on the back end and make sure we take care of bodies. We talk about the minutes with Anthony Black. We talk about the minutes with Franz Wagner. That's a big part of it with Dez. Him playing all 82 games, being able to have his body right for the down the last stretch as well.
Okay, that's the first answer that he gave, and then he's asked again about hindsight. Was that the right decision to do?
Should that have been handled differently with this game meaning so much for your team, or you regret any about the way you handled that, or just?
Well, I would have liked to get the win. That's what I do regret. But at the end of the day, we always talk about the long and the big picture of being able to keep guys healthy. And this guy's played 82 games, and his body has taken a toll. It's taken a toll, and us being able to be smart like we were in Chicago the other day with having the lead and being able to control that lead. Tonight, we weren't able to do that because they hit a ton of shots. We turned it over, gave them a couple extra opportunities, and that was a big portion of the ball game. But you got to give Boston
Okay, the point is, as I mentioned early, the plan clearly was to get him out. I mean, when they took him out of the game, the Magic weren't up 40. So the plan, at least what they want you to believe, the plan was, hey, let's limit his minutes tonight. Was it then ... unless we need him, and then we'll bring him back after he didn't play for this long stretch. What? Again, I understand and I respect the fact that Desmond Bain was healthy to play 81 games this season. Great. They blew out the Bulls. They were in position to give him rest. But I would hope that Desmond Bain, when he woke up yesterday, understood what was at stake for the basketball team and didn't need anybody to come tell him, hey, I know maybe we talked about it, that before the sentence could even be completed, that he would say, I'm good as long as you need me today. Because you know when you could rest him? Today and tomorrow before playing on Wednesday, preferably at home. So the idea of we'll play him, then we'll sit him a long time, and then we'll get him back in. I'm sorry. I don't know what the conversation was leading up to this, but Jamal Mosley, his assistants, everybody that's sitting in the rows behind the bench, the president and GM, and the ownership, that was ridiculous. I can't guarantee if Bain plays his normal minutes, the Magic win by 20. I don't know. But if that was the thought process going into a game that had meaning, it's unacceptable. Although, what do you want the consequences to be? The consequences should be everybody needs to recognize it was a bad idea. If Bain has been playing hurt and he's not moving, he's got a bad ankle injury, and it's obvious he's not helping the team. He's a negative on the court. That's different. That's different. I just cannot fathom. And the answer to the second question about do you have any regret, it was like, well, regret not winning the game, and then the long term. He's got his deal for years. He's getting paid. Looking at the big picture, who the hell cares about November's schedule? Sorry, who cares? Chris might not like this. Give him the night off with a Denver-Utah back-to-back before Thanksgiving. I don't care. Not a game that it mattered. Come on. That was one of many things last night that you just said, holy blank. The 42-40 third quarter, the 19 turnovers. Again, the lack of urgency. The body language of players afterwards, knowing the questions are coming and say, I don't know. Or Jalen Suggs said when asked about the lack of urgency in it, good question. And if you're going to bark and go, hey, that's on the coach. Sure it is. It's on his assistants and it's on the players. It's on everybody. Well, they're only doing that because they don't like blank. The coach, fine. It's on all of them. It's on all of them. You can't go into a game, and again, I said this earlier, Boston was giving it to you. You're up double digits in the first quarter, and they're like, we got it. We'll lay down in a little bit. Just let some of these guys shoot some shots and have some fun, and then you guys win by 20 and do what you were here to do. And add a halftime lead. And you thought, okay, hey, we're up at the half. Let's kind of knock this thing up to 15 and 20, and we can all rest, mid-third quarter. 42-20 third quarter for Boston. One team was ready to play. One team was locked in to play hard, give great effort, and make shots. And it wasn't the team that had something to play for. It wasn't the team that had something to play for. I don't know what's going to happen on Wednesday. I'm sure they can go to Philly and win. Yeah. They can lose. They can lose 2 games in a row, and that's it. And if you look at body languages from guys, looks like they'd rather have that happen. Because if they're assuming, we'll go to Philly, we'll win, and then, then just got a series against Boston. Remember, the Celtics get to play the guys that didn't play in the series. They get to actually use them. But think of it this way. At least Desmond Bane's rested up for the game on Wednesday at Philadelphia. Back to put a wrap on the Monday show next.
customer calls. Other services through Trading Estate and Trading Cash. Additional disclosures at TradingWealth.com.
Time for the latest news, gossip, trends, and off-the-wall stories. Trends. Ooh.
That's the craziest thing I ever heard.
Chris, at the Masters outside of cheap concession prices, the merchandise shop makes a lot of money.
Yes.
A lot of complaints from people. You know, they have the gnome, the lawn gnome that's very popular, and people said that, you know, a lot of people waiting in line for that, but others said that they wish that Augusta National limits the number of items a person can buy.
Oh, good Lord.
Because they only let so many people in at a time. There's a line and security for this. So there's some people that were waiting like fifth in line to get in.
Mm-hmm.
They were waiting up to an hour because people inside are buying so much merchandise for themselves or to sell, and they'd like a limit.
I wouldn't put a limit on how much you can buy. Maybe just to keep things flowing, a limit on how much time you spend in the store. But what I can't
with play-by-play. Susan's down to 15 seconds. What can she do quickly?
But I can't. Why do people this? And again, people are gonna do what they do. Why are you gonna go somewhere, spend X amount on merchandise, and then flip it? That just bothers me. And then why would you buy
some
it?
people? Because there's some people that do this. Do you know what the average consumer spends per visit? I didn't believe this until I saw multiple times and trusted sources. You know what the average person spends in that merchandise tent?
I'm probably gonna be way off, but I'll say 2,000.
Oh, it's 1,000.
Yeah,
$1,000. There's no discount section either over here. A lot of money, man, and a lot of people will take it and resell and go on market and sell it because others can't get it.
Do you really care that much?
I don't, but there's a market for it. There's a massive market for the resale.
I don't. Someone explain it to me. I don't understand it.
Well, again, I'm not an autograph and memorabilia person. Those that are, it's a different passion for them.
Okay, that's autographs, not just merchandise
Listen,
from Augusta.
I will sign anybody's name. I mean, if you bring an item, just tell me who you want. I'll sign it. You want Wemby? Just bring me a basketball. I'll sign it. I don't care. Say what's not his name. I didn't tell you to sign it. I'm just signing it, whatever name you want. Yeah, that's it.
This is thrift store autograph stuff.
Yeah. If you missed any of today's program, go where you get your favorite podcast. Type in the Beat of Sports on demand, access the show, subscribe, and get it downloaded. This one is convenient for you. You can always watch the live stream of the show or watch the replay at your convenience as well. Get to our YouTube page at 96 in the Game Orlando. Click on the logo on the live button. The show is available for you to watch when it's convenient for you as well. Chris produced. Have a good day, Chris.
You too, Mark.
We'll see you back for a Tuesday edition tomorrow. This is the Beat of Sports.